Hi, this is Mato. Welcome to my online chess lecture. In this video I will show you a game between Magnus Carlsen and Wesley. So, this is a game from the FTX Crypto Cup 2021. And this is the craziest game of the match. Carlsen had white pieces and he started with b4. What is this opening called? Sokolsky, Polish, or Orangutan? How do you call this opening? Black to move. If you play d4 with white pieces, then in this position d5 is a normal move. And this is what Wesley played. Bishop to b2, knight to f6, e3, bishop to g4, attacking the queen, bishop to e2, bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, knight from b to d7, knight to f3, e6, a3, c6. Black has a semi-Slav pawn structure. c4, bishop to d6, d3, a5, c5, bishop to c7, and both players castled kingside. Knight from b to d2, b6, c takes on b6, bishop takes on b6. Rook from f to c1, a takes on b4, a takes on b4. White is threatening rook takes pawn on c6. How to defend the pawn? Wesley played queen to e7. Rook from a to b1. If rook takes on c6, rook takes rook. Bishop takes rook, queen takes on b4. It is about equal. Back to our game. Rook from a to b1, rook from f to c8, bishop takes on f6, knight takes on f6, d4, preventing c5 by black. The black pawn on c6 looks very weak, and you may think, poor black pawn. Yet, this was the greatest pawn in this game. Bishop to c7, knight to e1. What's wrong with winning the pawn on c6? If rook takes on c6, then bishop takes on h2 check. And after king takes bishop, rook takes rook. Black stands better. Back to our game. Carlsen played knight to e1. Bishop to d6, knight to d3, rook from c to b8, knight to f3, rook to b6, knight from f to e5, queen to b7, queen to c2, bishop takes on e5, d takes on e5, knight to d7, rook to b3, black to move. Should black push the pawn to c5 or not? It is becoming very tense. Wesley played c5. Knight takes on c5, knight takes on c5. And this is the critical position of the game. It is white to move. What would you do in this position if you had white pieces? Rook to c3 would be the best move. But after rook takes on b4, rook takes on c5, g6, it is about equal. Well, let's go back. If pawn takes knight, then rook takes on b3. Black is much better. Back to our game. In this position, Carlsen played queen takes on c5. And this is a blunder. Why? Black to move. Please pause and find the best move for black. Did you pause? What did you find? Wesley played rook to c6. Did Wesley blunder too? The queen is under attack. What to do? Carlsen defended the queen. That's funny, isn't it? Let's take it back. What else? If queen takes rook, what happens then? Then queen takes queen. And after rook takes queen, check, checkmate. Back to our game. That is why in this position, Carlsen played this funny looking move. Rook from b to c3. Rook takes queen. Rook takes rook. h5 to avoid back rank problems. b5. Rook to a5. h3. g6. Well, rook takes on b5 is also a good move. g6 was played. Rook to b1, king to g7. h4, queen to b8. g3. Queen takes pawn on e5. Rook from c to c1. Rook to a2. b6, queen to f5. Rook to f1. Black to move. Would you be worried about the b pawn advancing? What would you do in this position if you had black pieces? Wesley so played rook takes pawn on f2. Nice move, isn't it? b7. If rook takes on f2, then queen takes on b1. So we have b7. One move away from the glory. Rook takes rook, check. Rook takes rook. Black played the move and white resigned, and the move is queen to e5. Carlsen resigned. Probably the best move for white in this position is rook to f3, then queen to a1, check. And let's go back. Rook to b1 doesn't work because of this continuation. Queen takes on g3, check. King to h1, queen to h3, check. King to g1. Queen takes on e3, check. King to h1. Queen to e4, check. Forking the king and the rook. And after the king moves, queen takes rook. And then queen takes pawn on b7. That was a very unusual game. If you didn't know the names of the players, you wouldn't guess that player with the white pieces was the world champion Magnus Carlsen. What do you think of this game? And that is all. I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. I wish you good luck with your chess, and bye for now.